This podcast series is a result of the Yoga and the Body, Past and Present. This was a symposium that happened in May 2016 in Canberra at the Australian National University. The following presentation you're about to hear is given by Patrick Mccartney, who will talk about building the divine body and the way in which he uses particular tantric texts to teach introductory Sanskrit workshops.
All right, thanks for coming back today, and to the new people that have come to join us, welcome. I'm going to talk about building the divine body. What I hope to do in this presentation is I'm basically taking my own experience in our broader discussion of cultural appropriation and things like that to look at this practice that I've basically developed to teach 1 or 2 day introductory Sanskrit classes at yoga centers. I've been doing that on and off for a few years now. So I'm posing the question, do I have the authority to do this? And hopefully through the presentation I will answer it. So there are lots of different types of yoga bodies. Here's a picture from Bikram yoga class. What I'm going to do first is kind of have a little bit of a discussion about the non-static nature of the representation of divine bodies, particularly focusing on the divine feminine aspect of divine bodies. So this is Santoshi Ma. This is a very orthodox kind of representation of the divine feminine. It's another aspect of the Devi as the mother goddess. And his kind of more variations on a theme of Durga. So during Navratri Sadhana, 9 nights of worship to the Devi, you end up worshipping these different aspects of the divine feminine. You see why this kind of becomes relevant to my presentation. Talking about cultural appropriation, we end up with this. This is a comic strip, right? So there's kind of this internal and external appropriation of figures, which kind of situates my talk in some ways. But then you get to this abused goddess project that happened a couple of years ago, and it caused quite a stir. So you'll see in the close-ups that this was used to basically highlight the reality of domestic violence. So even within the Desi or Indian culture today, these images are used in different ways. So coming to this thing that I do, I call it Chakra Yatra or Chakra Sadhana. So basically I take people through what we did yesterday. So that meditation I led you through partly as a result of that. So learning. When I first went to these yoga classes, these yoga centers, I went in with this really hardcore linguistic focus. I had 3 degrees in linguistics or something, so I'm a bit of a linguistic nerd. And I didn't really appreciate, I kind of anticipated that there was more to the Sanskrit language that the yoga practitioners that came to these workshops wanted. But I wanted to test the waters and see, if I just take this linguistic focus and here's the language, stuff like that. So it became evident quite quickly that I should put more of this, metaphysical stuff into it. And I thought, well, how do I actually create this kind of get out of the head and get more into an experiential thing? So I kind of explored some texts and did this stuff, and I came up with this practice. But it's based on some much older texts. So Netra Tantra is one of the earliest known texts that we know that talks about the 6-point chakra system. And you can see it's quite old. And there's another text called the akṣa-mālā Tantra, which is the first text that actually tells us, that where the chakras ought to be imagined, their locations, how many petals they have, and how it's related to the Sanskrit alphabet and things like that. So it's actually one of the, in the Shaivite system, it's one of the most important texts. Also the Kulanava Tantra, which has a pretty wide authorship date, so, but it's also one of the most important texts. So, in trying to answer my question, do I have authority to kind of do this? These are for, these secret tantric rites, basically, and I guess in some way I'm not actually teaching a tantric rite or some secret formula. I'm just trying to teach people a little bit about the Sanskrit language through using a meditation practice as well. But you can see here, so there's all these different types of mantras that you have to have authority to learn or teach and things like this. So I basically take it from this last one, that one who has a special devotion for and an attraction to. So I think we all have, an interest in the Sanskrit language at some level, at least the people that come to the workshops. So I kind of think I have something there. Here's an image from a street parade. This is actually a Hijra street parade. But this is an image of Kali standing over Shiva. So this, and this is kind of has something to do with Shava Sadhana, so the corpse practice. So Shavasana, when you lie down on your back, this is the corpse practice or the corpse pose. And this in Varma Marga of Tantra, the left-hand path, is all these really interesting things you can do with trying to revive a cadaver sitting on the chest and pouring ghee into the mouth, and if you don't die of fright when Shakti reanimates the corpse, then you might have the opportunity to be granted a boon and things like this. So I don't teach that in my class, but so yeah, Shava equals corpse. But in terms of the, I think this is more of a folk etymology. But the I in Shiva represents the Shakti, so it's all about really this invitation by Shakti for Shiva, the corpse, Shava, the corpse, to come alive and dance, right? So, in a sense, that's kind of the attitude I take with this class or this workshop, is that, it's about, there's a few different things. Learn the Sanskrit, a little bit about the Sanskrit language, learn a nice meditation practice, but also kind of take the moment to, raise our awareness and consciousness about different things as well. So, trying to incorporate all these different, I think, aspirations of more advanced yoga practitioners and cemented in a bodily experience, a bodily practice. So, one story about Shiva, and in this picture, this is Sati, so his wife. So Sati was the daughter of Daksha, and Daksha had basically a party, a fire ceremony, and he didn't invite Shiva because Shiva had, he smelled, he was disheveled, he'd like to hang out in the mountains with the demons and all this stuff. So Daksha was pretty angry at this insult, and she threw herself on the fire. Shiva came and picked up her body, and then in a rage he travelled all over the landscape, and all the demons, and that's basically when he also did this Nataraja dance, right? So, and nothing could persuade Shiva to calm down, so Vishnu threw his Sudarshana chakra at Sati's body, and all these bits of her body fell in different parts of the subcontinent. And you can see a lot of them are focused up around West Bengal and the northeast, where a lot of the tantric literature comes from. So in terms of yoga bodies, because each of these, you can see an anthropomorphic kind of vision of this. Basically, each of these, the letters of the Sanskrit alphabet also relate to one of these parts of the body of Sati, right? So you can kind of think a bit more of different types of yoga bodies and things like that. So one of the texts that I based this practice on is called the Shaktananda Taramgini. It was composed in Bengali, and, but it was based on this 12th century text. and in it, I can't read that. It says, Vani Chalbu Vaneshani Ramache Vasureshwari Tara Trayamidam Devi Guru Mantre Pratishtitam. So this is all about Tara, basically. Tara Trayam, the threefold goddess Tara, who is located in the Guru's mantra, consists of the beautiful Saraswati, Kundalini, and Ganga. Now there are different representations of Tara. So we have a bit more of a sanitized version of Tara standing over Shiva. But on the right we have Smashan Bhumi Tara. So this is the Tara that hangs out in the Smashan Bhumi, the cremation grounds. And she was actually also considered a reincarnation of Krishna. And you can see Shiva being suckled at the bosom, sitting on a sea of corpses and things like this. So there's different representations of the of the body. So Tara, so all of these, this 51, 52, 108, depends who's telling the story. But so Tara Peeth is one of the 4 main Shakti Peeths. It's about 6 hours north of Kolkata, and it's where Tara's third eye apparently fell. And you can actually do, a tourist pilgrimage of all of these Shakti Peeths, as they're called. Or you could come to my Chakra Sadhana workshop and save a lot of time and effort and learn about it yourself. So this is one workshop I did a couple of years ago in Melbourne. So this all relates to what's called the Varna-mālā, the garland of letters. And what's important, this picture of Tara standing over Shiva is, it's quite confronting to a lot of people, I think, especially if you're not from within the cultural context. But these heads, these severed heads, they have, there's lots of symbology in this picture, but these heads also represent each letter of the Sanskrit alphabet. Here's a mala, a akṣa-mālā. So, and you can use this in japa sadhana when you as a way to kind of goad the mind through repetition of mantra. So the Kulanava Tantra talks about this idea of akṣa-mālā. And this actually breaks into akṣa-mālā. So A is the first letter in the Sanskrit alphabet, and ksha. There's different levels of the Sanskrit alphabet. There could be, some people say 49 letters in the classical alphabet, but in the Vedic there's 63 because there's either the letters get lengthened by 1 count, 2 counts, or 3 counts. And the tantric system, there's a couple of extra letters as well. So it's a bit like the alpha omega kind of thing in Greek. Anyway, there's one shloka. It says akṣa-mālā dvidha prokta kalpita kalpiteticha kalpita manabhi kripta matrika syat akalpita adiksham taksha sarvar twad akṣa-māleti kirtita anuloma viloma bhyam ganayen mantravittama. So this says the rosary, the akṣa-mālā, is said to be of 2 kinds, created and uncreated. The created one is made of beads, the uncreated one consists of the syllables of the alphabet. It's called akṣa-mālā because it consists of the bead-like syllables from A to ksha. The excellent knower of mantras should count these in regular and reversed order. So regular reversed order is anuloma viloma, and that's basically what we were doing yesterday when we go up and down the spine, and there's lots of different ways you can kind of visualize the Kriya Yoga and stuff like that. And this all has to do with this practice from the Kulanava Tantra called the ṣat-cakra-bheda. So bheda means to pierce something. Shat is 6, so the 6 chakras. So what we did yesterday, we started up at Agnya and went down to Muladhara like this. So Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, and then Om. So here's a close-up of Agnya Chakra. You have Om, Ksham, and Hum. So now, kind of giving you a bit of the theory stuff, I'm going to give you a really quick overview of the practice, and just a little bit about the Sanskrit language. So vowels are contrasted by both being long and short. So in the Sanskrit alphabet, there's 16 vowels, and you have a, I, u, ri, ri, like this, okay? And so all the vowels in this practice are located in the throat chakra. And so we start here with A. Now, the dot above all the letters, this is used because when you recite the Bij mantra, so if you're learning the alphabet, you just say A. But in this practice, you would say like okay? So you have im, rim, rim, ein, like this. So when you're doing this practice, if you can, you get to the kind of more complicated thing, you can just do the basic one, up and down, the Bij mantras of each chakra, or you can incorporate each letter like this. So what you end up doing is building a coherent living image of the deity within you. This is the idea. So the consonants, there's 25 consonants in the Sanskrit alphabet, and they're contrasted by aspiration and voicing. So aspiration is if you place your hand in front, you go ka, and you can feel that breath on your hand. This is aspiration. So there's two different consonants. So you have a ka and a ka where you feel. And people trying to learn Hindi or Sanskrit, who are native English speakers, this is one of the hardest things I think because it does make a difference when you're trying to speak in terms of being understood. And voicing also, so the point of articulation is the same, but you're just making the voice box kind of vibrate. So ka and ga, like this, or ta and da. So the consonants, they start here in Anahata Chakra, and you start with ka, ga, ga, nga, cha, ja, nga, ta, like this. And then you move to Manipur Chakra, and da, na, ta, da, na, pa. And then Swadhisthana Chakra, so it's ba, ma, ya, ra, la, and then you get to Muladhara, and so you have va, sha. So this is the sha. In Sanskrit you have 4 syllabants. So the syllabants are like, okay, so you have, but this one is sha as in Shiva, okay? This one is sha, so it's a retroflex. So this is the sha in Krishna. And then you have sa as well. So there's ha, sha, and sa. So, yeah. In the day one of the workshop, so maybe we'll do like 3 or 4 hours on one Saturday and then come back the next week. And so I have a Google Drive folder just full of stuff. So when people register and they pay, then I send them this link and they can download all this kind of these learning materials and familiarize themselves with it. Okay. But so generally what we do on the first day is, we'd go through the chakras, we'd do the meditations, we'd learn the practice a bit, and we'd also spend time writing stuff down. So this is what I use, these kind of templates. So this is A, this is the first letter of the alphabet. I probably wouldn't do this on the first day, I'd do this on the second day when people have learned it a bit more. But anyway, this shows you, so you can just copy out the letter, looks like a 3 plus a T, and you can just write it out. This is actually a kind of more archaic version of the same letter. Here's one for P. So what I also have these templates, so they're just very basic. So you can see what they look like. So I print them out, or people print them out and bring them with them. And so what we do with these is, part of the practice is the kinesthetic, and we basically just learn the locations of the letters. And then maybe on the second day, if we've learnt the Devanagari alphabet, we go through it as well, like that. So I think that's it. So yeah, what did I do? I started just kind of saying that, you know, there's different ways in which divine bodies are used by different people. I asked the question of, do I have the authority to do this? I showed you the practice. I think I have the authority to teach the Sanskrit alphabet and things like that. I don't think I have the authority to teach these secret rites, which I don't really know, and to be honest, I'm not really interested in. But nonetheless, I think it's a question worth asking and a conversation worth having, especially, you know, I'm an outsider, essentially. But so far, I haven't had anyone complain about these workshops. It's all been pretty positive. If you'd like me to come to your yoga center and facilitate these workshops, I'd be more than happy to. That's it. So thank you.